Well, hello everyone. It's Sibyl Star, and I am here to give the astrology forecast for the coming week, which I call MoonDay Morning Astrology. I call this MoonDay Morning Astrology because it comes out on Monday mornings, which is the day of the moon. So, anyway, this is a hugely exciting astrological week. There's many different, very significant things happening this week. So first off, of course, the sun. We start the week off on which is July 17th. This is the week of July 17th to the 23rd. So we start the week off with the Cancer new moon, which occurs on July 17th at 25 degrees of Cancer at, well, actually I think it's 24 degrees, 56 minutes at 11:32 a.m. Pacific time. And I'm going to start the reading. I'm going to I'm going to show you this chart. So let me screen share here really quickly. Okay. I'm just going to point out what the significant things that are happening astrologically, because actually they're all happening except for one thing as part of this new moon. So first off, we have the sun and the moon. They're down here at 24 degrees, 56 minutes of Cancer. They're in an opposition to Pluto up here at 29 degrees of Capricorn. It's also, this new moon is also in a trine to Neptune. It's also in a square to Aries and to the nodes. It actually makes a grand cross with these points. And soon the North Node will actually be conjuncting Aries within a few months. But so anyway, what else have we got going on? Okay, so we have Mars and Athena here in early Virgo opposite Saturn. And let's see, we have Venus here at 28 degrees of Leo. She's going to go on the 22nd. She will be turning retrograde. And and I'm going to actually do a whole video about this Venus retrograde. There's just so much going on with it because she's actually in a yod with Pluto and Neptune. I'm not going to go over that today. She's also in a wide conjunction here with a Lilith, which she'll be making an exact conjunction in this lunar cycle. And she's also in a square to Uranus. This all happens in this lunar cycle. So anyway, let us go back and talk about, what all of this actually means, which is, the most important thing. All right. So anyway, Cancer, is the first sign, is the first water sign. And it has to do with the emotional body, or it represents the emotional body. But water connects us to everything, as do our emotions, because it is through the emotional body where we really connect to the field of energy and vibration. It's what we feel, and Cancer is so much about feeling. It is a very sensitive, emotional, introspective sign. And, this Cancer new moon, we should take a moment to reflect on the themes that Cancer represents, which is affairs of the heart, home, families, and the past, and much, much more. It's really, like I said, our emotional body, but Cancer is very much about the heart and brings in the archetype of the mother and the love of the mother. And I do want to remind people too that, the new moon actually is like setting the intention for the next 30 days. It plants that seed of what is to come. All right. And as I said, Cancer is all about feeling. The evolutionary goal of Cancer is to feel every human emotion and relates to the emotional heart. Whereas Leo relates more to the physical heart, Cancer relates to the emotional heart, as it's ruled by the moon, and the moon is related to the heart. Cancer is the nurturing energy of the mother that nourishes all life. And so it's important to care for yourself as well as others, because, one of the shadows of Cancer, being the archetype of the mother, that it's easy to hide behind that archetype and not get our own needs met. Might be hard. Let's put it this way. It would be hard. It's harder to get our own needs met than it is to meet the needs of others. Okay. So as I showed you, this moon is opposite Pluto, trine Neptune, and sextile Uranus. These are all outer planets, so it brings in a strong collective energy, while Cancer is the most personal of all the signs and brings in the affairs of the heart. The personal and collective heart are impacted by this new moon. Oppositions bring in relationships, how we learn from others and how they mirror in us something that we often cannot see ourselves. It can show us where we feel most vulnerable and unprotected. It's where it cracks the shell of Cancer and opens the heart. The ancient symbol of Cancer is the turtle. The current one is the crab. They both have a soft inner core with a hard outer shell. And so, with having such sensitivity, sometimes it requires well, it feels like it requires defense mechanisms to protect our heart. But the thing is, the world needs the love that Cancer has to share and needs to be able to allow those protective shells to come down and to come out of our shell. Cancer can withdraw when they are hurt. So, it's okay to withdraw, but it's important to come back out, to not stay in the shell. Okay. And to also remember that, like I said, oppositions reflect back to us something about ourselves. And so with Pluto involved, it brings in deep parts of the soul may be activated as to what is true and authentic and aligned with the soul, but it may not meet the needs of others. And it may show us some deep truths about what it is you really want and need. What you really want and need may be revealed. And of course, it's also square Eris, and Eris is the feminine warrior. And so, we might be holding in some anger or resentment. And, and so to be able to feel those emotions so that we can release them. Okay. And if you're able to listen to what your heart has to say, it has the potential to bring self-empowerment and to what feeds your soul and what is draining it. So you can, and that Eris can come in and, is the feminine warrior, she say no. She is the one who has not had the feminine warrior has not had a seat at the table in over 5,000 years. And, the Greeks called her the goddess of discord. Well, she had discord because she was angry. And so it's really important to express any underlying emotions or to release them and to get clarity on them, to release them, to work through them, to feel them. And of course, with anger and Aries, a good way to release that is through physical activity. Okay. All right. All right. And so as part of the soul healing process, Pluto activates an emotional purification process and can bring a healing crisis. Repressed emotions cause energy blocks, which can impact our physical health as well as the emotional body. It is old trauma stored and it needs to be released. So I feel like this new moon is very much about heart healing and opening personally and collectively. But, Cancer and Pluto both say we have to feel it to heal it. The thing is to allow yourself to have these emotions come up, to allow yourself to cry, to know that tears heal the soul. Cancer is a water sign. And as we allow ourselves to feel the emotion, it moves the energy. And the energy may feel like sadness, but it is not necessary to name the emotion that is coming up. Because if we name the emotion, there's often a story attached. And the key is to release the energy, the emotion, what is stuck in your body and your emotional body, and so that you can feel more alive and open. And another tool to work with during this time is the violet flame. As the violet flame burns off all negativity and allows more of our higher selves to emerge. With Pluto and Capricorn, one of the things we are releasing is the trauma and pain of judgment of ourselves and others. That is so much a part of this paradigm. That is very much the Capricorn piece. And Pluto always brings up the shadow, something for us to be able to heal and release, because it's about soul healing. And so, this is part of a paradigm that we have been living in, that tells us there's something wrong with us. I mean, there's some religions that tell us we are sinners, and so we grow up with that. And the key is to unplug from this paradigm by healing your heart, and to heal it through forgiveness, to allow yourself to feel what you need to feel, whatever insights or clarity show up for you as you do that, and then forgive yourself, let it go. It is in the past and it just needs to be released. Okay. Because you are we are each the embodiment of divine love. We are beautiful beings of light, and our hearts are a chalice of love. Let it overflow. The new moon is also called the dark moon, and especially when it's in opposition to Pluto, it can bring in the dark mother. And the dark mother is one of regeneration and renewal, who creates compost of what no longer serves us and transmutes it into new life. So as we release the pain and trauma of our hearts, allow the divine love flowing through you to transmute these lower frequency vibrations into love. I just have that image of it coming as it comes into our energy field, to meet it with the light that lives in our heart and with the love. And divine love heals everything, and everything is divine love. As I said, this new moon is trine Neptune, which is also known as the divine heart. And it is the gateway of the heart, that it is through the gateway of the heart that we ascend into higher frequency dimensions, not the mind. It is about the heart. It is about compassion for ourselves and others, and forgiveness. And that is what is healing the divisiveness within us and between us. Okay. The Sabian symbol for this new moon is just so powerful. It is a leader of men wrapped in an invisible cloak of power. Well, that invisible cloak of power is divine love. And I have heard, and it makes sense to me, that the only way to heal our world is to allow more of our higher selves to emerge, which is love and the power of love. The divine love that lives in our hearts is our invisible cloak of power. And there's a great affirmation to say every day, if you can, to say it to yourself silently and to say it out into the world as well, that I am the sacred embodiment of divine love. Now, also on the same day as the new moon, the nodes of the moon change signs. The new moon itself, the nodes were at 0 degrees, 0 minutes of Scorpio Taurus, but about an hour later, they move into Libra or Aries and Libra. And of course, the nodes are about destiny. The south node is about the past and what we're bringing forward, as well as releasing. The north node is the way forward, or our soul's intention. The nodes of the moon change every 18 months. So we have been in a process of healing self-worth issues, which was the Taurus Scorpio axis. But now it's about, with the Aries Libra, it's about finding balance and integration of self versus other, and the dance that it takes to accomplish this. And of course, Aries being the North Node, the North Star, Aries is the warrior, the pioneer, brings in autonomy of self, requires courage and confronting our fears. Whereas the South Node is about the past, what we are bringing forward, what needs to be released. And Libra is about the other and developing empathy and kindness and consideration. But in its shadow, we can lose oneself and others through compromising who we are in a desire to be liked. It is people pleasing. It is ultimately about the integration of polarity within ourselves, the integration of the masculine and feminine, doing and being, self versus other, the dark and light within, which is the integration of the shadow, which allows us to step out of the us versus them mentality as we hold it all within ourselves. This is the paradox of the greater reality that we are everything. We are all the dark and the light. And when we can hold them both within us and meet the trauma that we carry with love, we transform it, we transmute it into love, and it brings us into unity consciousness. It is also a karmic reset whenever the nodes change signs, as well as Pluto squaring it. So this is just super big. And Pluto's going to be squaring the nodes until I think about through October at least. It's a karmic reset, which asks us to release the paradigm of suffering and limitation of the old frequencies of separation that exist within us. We can heal the separation within ourselves with forgiveness, with awareness and forgiveness. And Pluto is so much about the forgiveness of self and other. It is how we transform into the phoenix who rises from the ashes. Forgiveness is the process. And as we do, we can heal the separation and divisiveness in the external world, for it is a reflection of our inner world. And that's, okay. All right. And as we do, it brings us into unity consciousness, which is a fifth dimensional reality and the basis of the great shift in consciousness we are all experiencing. Right. Sorry, I had someone bring a package and knock at my door. Anyway, I want to go back over that because it's so important. So when we heal the separation within ourselves, we heal the separation and divisiveness in the external world. There's no other way. If we're going to have peace in the world, we need to be the peace, not just pray for peace. We need to be it. We need to embody it. And as we do, it brings us into unity consciousness, which is a fifth dimensional reality and the basis of the great shift in consciousness we are experiencing. And the North Node in Aries also indicates new beginnings and a surge of vital life force. And so we are at a crossroads. This is a crossroads. And we are in a crossroads especially in the process of creation. And so it's so important to ask the question, how can I be in service to the light? Please show me my next steps. I actually asked this today in my own meditation, and I drew a card, and the card that I got was forgiveness and gratitude. And so it just, it's about forgiving ourselves and others and being grateful for the lessons learned. The lessons and the lessons learned and the wisdom earned. Okay. All right. Something else happening this week is Saturn in Pisces is opposite Mars and Athena in Virgo. And Saturn, of course, is very practical. So is Virgo. They're, both Earth, Virgo's an Earth sign and Saturn is an Earth planet. And anyway, practical solutions and the implementation of some of our creative ideas. But it may also bring frustration, feeling like other people may be standing in your way. Oppositions indicate someone is mirroring something in you. And so what it may be mirroring is how you may be getting in your own way, especially through self-criticism and self-judgment. Now, we do need discernment. Discernment is different from judgment to me. Discernment is where we need to make a choice as to what serves our highest good. Whereas judgment is when we label something good or bad, including ourselves or others. Okay. And constructive criticism is also important. So discernment and constructive criticism helps us to see what improvements need to be done. But when we take the criticism personally and turn it into self-judgment is when we cause ourselves pain. Saturn is the inner judge and Virgo can bring up the inner critic. So that's what those two are about. All right, now we have this super big event happening, which is Venus retrograde. She does go retrograde what is it, 6 weeks every 18 months. And she's going retrograde from July 22nd to September 3rd at 28 degrees of Leo. She is not out of the retrograde zone, though, until October 7th. And we've been in the retrograde zone for about since the mid-June. Anyway, and like I said, she's at 28 degrees of Leo. And so if you have planets, I would say anywhere from 25 to 30 degrees of the fixed planets, and even the early degrees of some of the mutable signs. Excuse me, I meant fixed signs and mutable signs, and especially Leo and Aquarius, this event might have a deeper impact. Anyway, Venus, she's the goddess of love. She's the face of the divine feminine, relationships, self-love, self-worth, beauty, creativity. And when we say she's going retrograde, she appears to be moving backwards, but it is an optical illusion. But when a planet moves backwards, it's telling us to focus, to slow down. There's something that needs to be reassessed, reevaluated, rethought, whatever it is, redone in our lives. And with Venus, it's very much about the reevaluation of our relationships, our friendships, as our connections with others, because Venus represents these emotionally bonded relationships we have with others, whether, intimate partnerships or friendships. And, really asking ourselves, a reevaluation, is this what I want? It may be time to renegotiate terms of a relationship. And we may discover we no longer resonate within certain friendships. We did at one time, but we no longer do. And also to reevaluate what has value in our life, what has meaning, and how do I value myself? Am I valuing myself? Okay. And those from our past may show up from this lifetime and others with whom we have unfinished business. Sometimes we meet someone on a plane and we just feel like we know them, and we carry on a conversation, and whatever it is resolved. Whatever unfinished business may be resolved, or it may be something deeper, someone showing up to finish up whatever business was left undone. Okay. And it's also Venus also rules our finances. So it's a reevaluation of our finances. It is not a time to make decisions because clarity may not come until after Venus goes direct again. Venus is associated with the heart chakra, the chalice of light. It's being lit by the sign Leo, and the heart chakra is gateway to expanded consciousness through the heart. Venus is in Leo, which is the sign ruled by the sun, the fire of spirit that lives within each of us. Venus in Leo tells us to follow our passion and what brings us joy. Venus in Leo is also the archetype of the queen, or a woman who knows her worth. Now, there's a couple of things that make this a special Venus retrograde, because she does go retrograde every 18 months. For 6 weeks, 40 days and 40 nights. So she goes retrograde here in the United States on July 22nd. Now, in other countries, she may be, some other countries, it may be the 23rd. But I just felt like this was super significant because it is the feast of Mary Magdalene. And Mary Magdalene is Venusian. She is has to do with sacred sexuality. Mary Magdalene was called a whore and a prostitute and was denigrated for millennia. But now, as we reclaim our sexuality as sacred, she is reemerging as a divine being. And so some of the teachings around this could be to release body shame and resistance, to fully embracing our womanhood and feminine power, to heal patriarchal wounds, to open to the gifts of sacred sexuality, and experience wholeness and fully express all aspects of divine feminine and the divine masculine through the sacred marriage. Okay. Now, one more thing about this is that it's also conjunct the star Alphard in Hydra, and Hydra is the water serpent. And it represents the Kundalini, or vital life force that runs through our body and brings enlightenment as it rises up our spine. It is the power of the divine feminine. It brings in embodied spirituality. We also have Uranus and Taurus square this Venus, which can allow for a spontaneous Kundalini awakening. It's about the creative life force that is used to create children of the body or the mind, creating creative projects, activating the divine feminine creatrix that is arising from the cosmic womb, the divine fire of creation, because it is time to remember that we are co-creators. We are co-creators with source energy, with all that is, and we are being tasked with to create a new earth. And so I feel like it is the activation and the remembrance that we are these creators, powerful creators, and that we are the sacred embodiment of divine light. Okay. All right. So what is happening this week? Oh, one more thing. The sun moves into Leo on July 22nd. So we're moving out of the divine feminine as much more into the light of the Christ consciousness. And once again, Leo is the creative fire. It is the spark, or it represents. It's not is. It's what it represents. It is ruled by the sun, and the sun is the star of our solar system. It is our body of consciousness, and it represents the divine spark of creator that lives within each one of us. Okay, so with Venus traveling through there, and the Venus and Sun will have a conjunction. I believe it's on like the August 12th or something. Anyway, but I'll be talking more about that. All right, so the moon in the signs and aspects, of course, on Monday, the moon is in Cancer, and we've talked about the moon in Cancer. It's very much a sensitive, it's about feeling and belonging. Our feelings run deep. The shadow is taking things personally that are not meant to be personal. Okay. On Tuesday through mid-Thursday, the moon is in Leo, and the moon in Leo speaks to our inner child. It is a warm, generous, wholeheartedly loving position. The moon in Leo has a very warm countenance. It is passionate, creative, joyful, but also likes its excitement, so may stir up a little drama. Leo is known for drama. You just don't want it to turn into melodrama. This is a time when we may seek attention, when we want to stand out for our special qualities. So it's so important to be aware of when you need attention so you don't act out to get it, and to be able to just ask for it. All right, mid-Thursday through Saturday, the moon is in Virgo. And of course, Virgo is cleaning up after the Leo party. Leo is about the big party, about the celebration of life and having fun. Virgo, it's, time to get reorganized. And it has practical activities. We might find ourselves reorganizing, organizing our life. And emotional satisfaction comes from solving problems and making order out of confusion. And it's also a sign of service. It loves to help others. Health matters might come into focus. And on Sunday, the moon is in Libra. And so this could be, Libra is very romantic. This might be a really good time to have a time with your partner, or to spend time with friends, one-to-one, where you can really connect heart to heart. Libra really wants to connect. And Libra also likes order, but it solves it more through beauty. Okay, Libra is very connected to beauty, and we can solve problems through diplomacy. And as a Libra can always see the other side, which is the good news and the bad news. When you can see the other side, it can sometimes make decisions difficult. But yet, it's so Libra is a sign that can recognize paradox, and that the world actually is a paradox. And for one thing to be right, something else doesn't have to be wrong. All right. Well, wishing you all a wonderful week with all of this exciting stuff going on. Many blessings to you. And if you are interested in the reading, or to contact me at all for anything, I have my information in the description box. All right. Blessings to all, and namaste.